What is DyMiCo? Have you ever heard of DyMiCo? This revolutionary filtration system for your reef tank is used for more than 20 years in public aquariums, zoos, and universities. But it is also available for hobbyists at home. DyMiCo stands for Dynamic Mineral Control. It offers the possibility to create a small reef ecosystem in your aquarium. DyMiCo is a powerful biological filter. It actively breaks down ammonium nitrite, nitrate, and phosphate, and reduces their final concentrations. It will work more if the pollution is more important, and its activity reduces when the pollution decreases. Moreover, it provides KH, magnesium, and calcium. DyMiCo works as the bottom of the ocean. Elements are recycled by different living organisms, and no water changes are needed with DyMiCo filter. Fish and coral food brings trace elements. As they are not skimmed out, they are used by all the life in the system. What is the difference between Berlin system and DyMiCo system? A Berlin system is filtering a lot with skimmers and other filters to export nutrients and other devices to compensate mineral consumption. In our system, we believe in the recycling and use of nutrients by all the organisms we can find in a reef ecosystem. DyMiCo system will be rich in zooplankton, phytoplankton, bacterial plankton, just like in nature. DyMiCo can run easily for 2 weeks without maintenance. You can enjoy your holiday. People who take care of your aquarium only have to feed the fish and add refill water. No water changes will save you a lot of time and money. With DyMiCo, you can have a lot more fish compared to a Berlin system. How does it work? A computer runs a program based on pH and redox values and makes 2 pumps run to filtrate the water on the deep mineral substrate's bed. So what do you get when you buy a DyMiCo? A system that ensures to keep clean and full of life water without water changes and major additives. Without using any skimmers, you need less time to maintain and clean your reef tank. With an ecosystem close to natural one, you will see healthy and fleshy corals and fish in great shape. Reef keeping has never been easier. How to install DyMiCo? First, place the tank in a room that's allowed to keep the water between 23 and 28 degrees Celsius. Avoid direct sunlight on the tank. DyMiCo needs to be installed underneath the tank in a dark area. Mind the weight. Be sure that your floor can bear the tank's and DyMiCo's weight. Pumps and tubing. DyMiCo runs with 2 pumps. Once we call process pump, here tons silence 1073.020 or Siche Synchra Silent 2.0 pushes water through the media layer. Here the tons silence 1073.008 or Siche Synchra Silent 0.5 is called DyMiCo return pump. It pushes filtered water from the left to the right compartment. They are easily installed thanks to the 3 parts coupling, which allows easy removal for cleaning. Please check the O-rings are in place. To push water back to the tank, we provide a tons 1073.020 or Siche Synchra Silent 2.0, but you can use any other one. The only constraint is the flow rate. Use a flow regulator or a DC return pump. Install it in the right compartment. The right compartment can also be used as an usual sump for heater or cooling system, UV filter, reactors. We recommend aerating filtered water before it returns into the main tank. For this, please install an air stone in the right compartment. Use a check valve between the air pump and the air stone. The aeration system is not provided with the DyMiCo. Substrates. 2 special substrates are used for bacterial establishment. The coarse substrate is placed in the bottom. The coarse layer needs to be 27 centimeters high. Place the drilled board on the lateral brackets and then the fine substrate up to 13 centimeters height. You get them pre-washed, but rinse them again until water stays clear. For this, use a kitchen sieve or a drilled bucket. Electronic equipment. To feed bacteria, carbon source is added with a dosing pump. Place it in the cabinet in an accessible spot. Connect tubing from the carbon jerrycan to the pump, and from the pump to the nozzle on the process pump. To soften the tubing, dip it a few seconds in hot water. Drill 2 holes in the jerrycan cap, one for the hose and another for air entrance so there is no vacuum effect. CO2 dosing is optional. It is required if the stony coral population is important and minerals concentrations decrease. CO2 injection lowers pH in the DyMiCo down to a set value. Then the substrates are dissolved and release Kh, calcium, and magnesium to the tank as a calcium reactor. Solenoid valve is provided, not the CO2 bottle and regulator. Please note the solenoid valve circulation flow direction, use CO2 black tubing, and place a check valve between the DyMiCo and solenoid valve. The CO2 diffuser needs to be placed in the left compartment. Now place the heart and the brain of the system. Aquastar computer and IKS power bar. We use the Aquastar especially to the setup of DyMiCo with unique installed software. You cannot use one which has not been supplied by us. Whereas ports 1, 2, and L1 are programmed for DyMiCo, other ports can be used for other sensors or equipment control. Make sure the Aquastar is properly mounted in a dry spot, shielded from seawater. The pH and redox probes cables need to be long enough to go from the left compartment to the Aquastar left side. Place the IKS power bar between the Aquastar and the DyMiCo system. Be sure that the power cables of the tons pumps and dosing pumps are long enough to reach it. Connect the IKS power bar to the L1 socket of the Aquastar. Each plug is dedicated to one use only from the green light to the end of the bar. Tons return pump, carbon dosing pump, tons process pump, solenoid valve if you use CO2, connect the 12-volt power supply to the POW socket of the Aquastar. You can now fill the tank and DyMiCo system with seawater. The water needs to cover the substrate layer for a few centimeters. Water levels will stabilize after a few days or weeks running. After the tank and DyMiCo are full, it is time to set up Aquastar. Connect the pH module to the sensor 1 socket of the Aquastar. Connect the pH probe to the module. Calibrate pH probe using pH 4 and pH 7 standards. To do so, enter main menu, calibrate, pH sensor. Press enter. To go further, and the number keys to set the values. Make sure the probe is clean and dry between each step. Use deionized water and paper towel. pH calibration can take a few minutes in each solution. Once the pH probe calibrated, connect redox module to sensor 2 socket of the Aquastar. Connect the metal cap for the first point of the calibration. Navigate to main menu, calibrate, redox sensor, press enter. To correct redox measurement according to pH value, select sensor 1 as input for tank pH value setting. After first calibration point, remove metal cap from the redox black module and connect the redox probe. Clean it and use 230 mV standard solution for second calibration point. After successful calibration, place the probes in the holders in the left compartment. Please note that our probes are especially waterproof. Do not use any other probes. Next step is needed only if you use CO2. To set pH value in the reactor, select Main Menu, Control, and pH Valve DyMiCo. Enter desired pH value during the day and the night. A 7.5 pH for both is recommended for most reef tanks at first time. Don't set a pH value below 7 when you have only a few stony corals in your tank. You can lower it when you test your alkalinity and calcium and notice a decrease. Also set pH lower and upper limits, which activate an alarm. 6 and 8 values are recommended. It is now time to start the DyMiCo system. Go to the main menu, select Run, and press Enter key. After a short time, return pump will run to push water from the left to the right compartment. After probably 30 seconds, it will stop. Then carbon dosing pump will run and process pump. Then if pH is higher than desired value, solenoid valve will open to release CO2 into the DyMiCo system. Don't be upset if the process return and carbon dosing pumps are running for only a short period of time. DyMiCo is processing a fraction of the water volume every hour. The maximum running time for the process pump is 16 minutes per hour. The average is 4 minutes per hour. When the system is stable and fully operational, 50 to 100% of the water is filtered each day. This is sufficient to keep nutrients low. It allows you to get rich, phyto, bacterial, zooplanktons that feed invertebrates and fish. Tips and maintenance. Introducing live rocks is highly recommended to get beneficial bacteria strains and meo and microfauna species. These organisms are keystones to maintain a well-balanced reef tank. They are part of the nutrient cycle in seawater. We recommend introducing other animals after 4 weeks. Don't switch on light too much during the first weeks to avoid algae outbreaks. It is important that you check the redox value daily. In a filter that is running for more than a month, the redox value will change every hour. The redox value can fluctuate from minus 250 to plus 250. The ideal value is minus 100. So check the redox every time you feed the fish. You have to see regularly that the redox is around minus 100, but it has to change regularly. For example, on a system running for more than 1 month, if the redox is staying at plus 150 for a couple hours straight, there is something wrong. And if you check the redox a couple hours and it is never going into the minus around minus 100, there is also something wrong. If the redox is not correct, please check DyMiCo. To check if DyMiCo is working good. 1. Take the power of the computer off for 10 seconds and turn it back on. You must see the following steps in this exact order. During 30 seconds, nothing. DyMiCo is measuring the redox. The small return pump is on for 30 seconds to 15 minutes. The carbon dosing pump is on for a couple seconds. The process pump is on. You will see a water level change in the left compartment compared to the middle compartment. Check if there is enough carbon source, and check if the hose inside the jerry can is not stuck to the jerry can at the bottom. Make a bias cut at the end of the hose to prevent this. Also make an extra hole in the cap to prevent vacuum of the jerry can. Check if there is not too much or not enough water flow on top of the sand bed. See the dedicated video to test this. Test your water, especially for heavy metals. For example, copper can cause a failure of DyMiCo because it kills bacteria. Power bar. When the big green LED is on, there is power on the power bar. The smaller 4 red lights are not alarms. They indicate which sockets are on at that time. There are always 1 or 2 red lights on except for only 30 seconds every hour. If they stay all off for more than 30 seconds, please check the connection between Aquastar and the power bar. The correct water flow on top of the sand bed is essential for the correct working of DyMiCo. Aim the return pipe on top of the sand in the direction of the aeration chamber, right compartment. With a Berlin system, you want the flow as high as possible, but with DyMiCo filter, you want the flow as low as possible. But the water flow must be enough to keep the sand bed underwater when the small return pump is on. To set the correct water flow, stop DyMiCo, press escape key on Aquastar. Keep the return pump to the main tank in the right compartment on, so water is flowing on top of the sand bed. Put the plug of the small return pump, Tunza 1073.008, on a normal socket so it's constantly running. Wait a minute and check if there is still water on top of the sand bed. If yes, close the flow regulator some little more and wait another minute. Keep doing this until the sand bed runs dry until this minute. This is the limit of too low flow. Then you slightly open the flow regulator more and repeat each minute until the sand bed stays underwater. Phosphates and organic pollution could rise according to the population and the quality of the food you use. To keep phosphates and organic pollution low, you can add in the right compartment a fluidized media reactor with anti-phosphates, resin, and activated carbon. Please regularly keep an eye on the alarm red light on the Aquastar. It indicates that pH and/or redox value is or has been outside of normal value. After a few days or weeks, redox value will fluctuate between negative 250 and plus 250 millivolts. Test every few months, trace elements, and if needed, dose our special trace elements to keep good levels of each element. We strongly advise to use internal or external filter with mechanical media to avoid heavy cloudiness of the water during first months due to bacteria and other organisms' development. For maintenance, JBL Cleany is very convenient to clean the two lower PVC pipes inside substrates. Clean the pumps and the left compartment at the same time. Ideally, check probes calibration every month. Empty your DyMiCo and clean the substrate once a year. Fill the missing volume due to substrate dissolution by the CO2. Cleaning of the substrate. After 1 year of operation, the sand bed may require cleaning and additional substrate. Take all the substrate out and wash it. Use the next procedures. Turn off the Aquastar. Turn off the aquarium return pump and other equipment in the right compartment. Take out all the water from DyMiCo and save this. This water is full of bacteria. Use a pump in the left compartment to take out the water and save the water in jerry cans. Take all the substrate out. Put the substrate on a sieve and wash it with a garden hose. If necessary, rinse the substrate with reverse osmosis water after a while. Clean the pumps and pipes in the DyMiCo filter. Put the substrate back. Add additional washed DyMiCo substrate course to restore the first 27 cm layer if necessary. Put some fish food between the two layers of substrate, below the perforated plate. This will increase the startup. Return the saved water in the filter. Start DyMiCo by selecting Run on the Aquastar. Place a power filter in your aquarium for 2 weeks. You might have some white cloudiness the first days. The power filter will prevent that. Usually it will take around 24 hours for DyMiCo to return to a low redox, -100. And the first weeks of redox will fluctuate between +250 and -250 more than before. This is normal. It will take some time for the filter to retain stability, but in the meantime, it will keep on filtering, so don't worry. We recommend this maintenance routine.